The hard-hitting analysis.
I'm anti-injury, so maybe this won't work out.
Kyler's only playing one tight end this week, so that's probably going to help him out a lot.
They tell it like it is.
That's not what I needed, Grandma Nut.
All right, the hipster fantasy player.
I don't do anything.
Their listeners love them.
Found all your charts boring, to be frank. Caitlin was the star of the show.
They break down all the statistics.
20 points. That doesn't quite add up. Maybe a 93.
This is the Snick Snack Sports Podcast.
Here we... All right, Snickers, help me out.
Oh, what's going on, all you fans of those guys that just got placed in IR, and that's really sad. How are you doing today, Nate?
Doing great, Snickers. Coming off another win. How are you doing?
Doing great. Giving off a great win for KD last week.
Yeah, that's all you get to focus on right now because one of the more successful 1-4 teams I've seen in a long time.
I appreciate that.
But we've got a big show for you guys tonight. We've got Kyler on the show. We will be talking about what happened last week, some controversial moves by some players in our league. Looking at the week ahead. So looking forward to get into it. So what happened with our bet last week, Snickers?
Yeah, last week we got Justin Jefferson against Stephon Diggs. Obviously, we had a little bit of an injury to JJ that we'll talk about in a little bit. But Diggs went off. It would have been not guaranteed that Justin even caught up to Stephon Diggs anyway. So Nate got the win last week, so he's 3-2 right now. But we do have a new bet this week, Nate.
We
That's
do.
your guess's quarterback lineup.
That's right. And no, it is always a shame when bets like this come down to injury, but that's what happened. And the race remains tight at 3-2. Yeah, our guest Kyler this week has put himself in a position where he's always having to make a very tough choice at quarterback. He's got Joe Burrow in the starting lineup. He's got Tua on the bench. And I think it would be very reasonable for anybody to question the decision either way. Who do you think you should play this week, Snickers?
Yeah, I got one of my favorite players in the league. I think that Tua is a better player. I think he has been all year. And Kyler's only playing Joe because he kept him this year as a 5th-round pick or something like that. So he has a little bit of he's kind of worried about that, having Joe have a bad season because he is having a bad season. Last week was definitely better, but Tua's definitely a better fantasy quarterback.
Well, that's the question. I mean, Tua can really blow up. I don't mind your pick. However, there's the argument to be had that Joe Burrow has in fact opened up here, broken out, and now is going to be good for the rest of the season. He's actually known for even bigger blow-up performances than Tua is. He does like the 55, 60 point, ridiculous 500-yard games. So I'm pretty comfortable having Joe Burrow on my side, and we'll see if Kyler sticks with his decision. I will approve.
Yeah, that'll be fun. But let's talk about a little bit what happened last week. Obviously, Ducky started out 0-2, comes back with 3 straight wins. One of them against Kenny, who's starting to fall apart. He only got 68 points last week. That was the week low. And Matt's first win and John's first loss come the same week here. So everything's starting to even out a little bit.
Yeah, no, that not only was it the week low, I think Kenny's loss may have been the season low. So yikes on that. I really didn't think his team was capable of it. And we'll look into that in just a minute, but we can see he's still at 3-2, just like my team. Not too bad. ESPN clearly hasn't given up on him, gives him a 72% chance to make the playoffs. Meanwhile, no respect for Tango at the Truck Father. 46% from a winning team. Come on. But yeah, your team is stuck down there in 10th place. I really do think you have a chance to come back here. We'll have to talk to Kyler about how he plans to kind of dig himself out of 12th right now. But looking at last week's score, let's take a look at Kenny real quick. 68 points to the Olive Man. Almost doubled his score. That doesn't happen a lot in our leagues. But it was, I think, just a week of things not lining up for our guy Kenny. Devonta Smith, 1 point. Miles Sanders, 1 point. Josh Dobbs was a risky play in place for Justin Herbert, but only 9 points. Christian McCaffrey only had a measly 13 points, which is low for him.
Hmm.
Michael
And
Pittman,
the Commanders defense got -7 against the Bears.
yeah, which that seemed like a good play at the time. So that hurts. Now he did have some people he could have played, Jordan Addison, Calvin Ridley, but overall, yeah, a week like this kind of shakes your confidence. But this can happen to anyone, I think.
No, absolutely.
And then meanwhile, you also had a bit of a rough week for playing against the two underrated teams, played against each other, and I mean, injuries kind of bit you in the butt here.
Yeah, obviously Justin Jefferson, Anthony Richardson leaving the game very early, especially in AR's case. Definitely hurt. If I put Justin Fields in, put some other receiver in there, there's a decent chance could have came out on top. But Katie put up a good week here, so give her props.
Yeah, and it might be a good time to mention just that I had sent you a trade offer earlier this week, Nick. Ramondre has obviously been a very big disappointment this year. The Patriots have been a big disappointment, and their schedule's opening up a little bit. And so I thought maybe it's a good time to buy low on this guy. Offered you AJ Dillon and Chuba Hubbard, two guys whose opportunities are looking up. But you said no.
No, it definitely was very tempting because Ramondre is a big disappointment this year. But like you said, schedule's opening up. We'll see how it goes. And yeah, I mean, he still might be on the trade block. Still might trade him before the end of the week here, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, it's one of those trades where there is either a big winner or a big loser, and it doesn't feel like there's a lot of space for in between. He's either going to open up and be what we expected, or he's going to be droppable in a couple weeks. But kind of the same with the guys I had there. They could be nothing, but if just one of them turns into something, it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Now, there's also in my own matchup, I won. It looks pretty handily here, but as we can see, I don't know, John was away or something, forgot to take out Keenan Allen, forgot to take out Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he had Breece Hall with 30 points on his bench and Adam Thielen with 25 points on his bench. So he would have destroyed me had he been paying attention. But
yeah, I mean, Nathan Letterman's getting 93 points. That's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, I agree. His team is looking good. This does not convince me that John has a bad team. He just needs to pay more attention, which I know has always been his challenge, holding on to that throughout the season. But yeah, a lot of the last thing I want to highlight is just Matt's and Shane's game here was an epic one, back and forth the whole weekend for a guy who desperately needed his first win.
No, I mean, Matt's definitely looking up on Thursday where he got 50 points, something like that from DJ Moore. Got the Bears defense, got Khalil Herbert all scored out pretty well. Matt did not have any faith in the team, thought they were definitely going to lose. And until Monday night, it looked like there was a decent chance he was going to lose, but did end up pulling it out, brought Shane down to 3-2, Matt to 1-4.
Yeah. I mean, when you might think from looking at the scoreboard that his team is looking up, you dig more into it, and it's DJ Moore and Jamar Chase are not going to score 50 points every week. Those are going to be both of their best performances on the season. I have no doubt about that. And so given that nobody else on his team actually overperformed their projection, in fact, a lot of these guys are looking pretty sad still, I actually feel less optimistic about his team than I did before.
Yeah, and Matt, one hint here. Ronnie Rivers is not a starting caliber running back. Please don't play him in your lineup unless there's two injuries in front of him.
I mean, his option, he chose to play him over Rashad White. But he was on bye last week. That's why this is still.
Yeah, no. I would have dropped Ronnie Rivers and picked up some waiver wire guy.
Fortunately, it looks like between Saquon and White that he won't have to do that again. Hopefully he has picked him up. We'll have to look into that later. But yeah, what's the news around the league?
Yeah, none of it is very good. Obviously, few big name guys, Justin Jefferson, Devon Achane, aka the third best running back in the league, having about 12 carries total. Anthony Richardson, James Conner, all on IR for at least 4 weeks and possibly more for a couple of them. So got to make big decisions, make big changes there for your teams here. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, he didn't play last week, is still going to be a question going forward on exactly what's going on there.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of big changes for a lot of teams, including yours. Doubly impacted. I know you have a replacement at quarterback, but Justin Jefferson's got to hurt.
Yeah, no, it definitely hurt, but we'll see how we bounce back here.
Yeah. So now we're gonna have our guest on the show in just a moment. But before we do, we just have a quick word from today's sponsor.
Hey you. Yes, you. Get caught gambling on games in your team's facility? Can't stop betting on sports apps despite every NFL show being sponsored by one? Come to Gamblers Anonymous, where we help you find healthy alternatives to gambling on sports games. Some options we've helped members find include: how many times will Snickers make lopsided trade proposals with an over-under of 4.5? Will Ducky change his team name every week? Matt's win total this year with an over-under of 0.5. And most importantly, who will face punishment between Snickers and Nate at the end of the podcast season? Calvin Ridley calls this program mid at best. Jameson Williams said, "This didn't help me at all." Gamblers Anonymous, here to help you gamble safely. Success is not guaranteed. Seats are limited. We are not registered or affiliated with the NFL, and the NFL will not reinstate you faster for attending. Each meeting comes with one free bet suggested on DraftKings. Use promo code GAMBO when you sign up. Coffee and tea are not provided. Terms and conditions apply. Ask your doctor if you're healthy enough for gambling. For real gambling problems, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right. Thank you to Gamblers Anonymous, one of our teams this year. Local businesses get involved in the league. Love it. All right. Welcome to the show, Kyler. Kyler, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Fantasy team, not so much, but I'm doing good. Thank you.
Yeah. What's been going on with the team? Why are they in 12th place?
I think a lot of teams this year have actually been pretty injury stricken. Cooper Kupp missed first 4 games. That definitely didn't help. Joe Burrow didn't start off as good as I think anybody hoped. And, fighting through. It's early in the season, so just staying positive.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about your team before you got on here, and I don't think either of us feel as discouraged about your team as like Matt's team, for example, who he had a big win last week because he had 2 big blow-ups, but I don't know that's going to happen really ever again. So I think you have some room to grow here.
Yeah, I definitely started off better last year, but I think team-wise, I feel better about it this year. The other thing I saw was my points against. I got the third highest points against, so that's got to retract to the mean and balance out over time. So I think that'll help me out as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You got to start playing better defense. You're talking to the guy who I think has the first highest points against in the league, so I know what you're feeling.
You know what it's like.
Yeah, no coincidence that the 2 worst defenses here, the 3 worst defenses, you, Matt, and Snickers, are all 1-4. So that's the kind of thing that kind of thing evens out throughout the year.
Yeah, I think this league's definitely unique in the fact that we pick not only a defense but a defensive player as well. You don't see a lot of that, and a place kicker. I think that makes this league a little special.
Yeah, how are you feeling about those changes this year?
I didn't know who to pick aside from Micah Parsons for a defensive player. So after he got taken, it was kind of just looking at the stats and hoping for the best. I think it's worked out okay for me, better than having the Patriots defense has worked out for me. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there is definitely a luck side of it that's going pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, Drake Greenlaw is a Pro Bowl caliber guy out there. He's definitely all over the field. And I'm a big fan of Josie Jewell. I drafted him in an IDP league a couple of years ago when he was a rookie. So I like you guys there.
Fingers crossed they stay healthy. And I guess there was something going on with he was just had a little sickness, like a little cold or something. But coach is hoping he gets over it and he's good to go for Sunday. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, I think it's always smart to have the kicking members of your team to be wearing the athletic glasses. I think those so we can see Behringer meets the bill.
Yep.
Makes you think of what's his name from the
Colts?
Blankenship.
Blankenship.
Yeah. Hot Rod.
Was it me that drafted Gilligan? I think I drafted him this year.
No, yeah.
And
the Saints.
Yeah. Penn State pick right there. And so far, I think I dropped him because he wasn't even playing at all, but could make a comeback and make me wish that I didn't drop him.
Yeah. The Patriots are punting a lot, and you got Money Mac there who doesn't miss. So I like your kicking game.
They kick a lot.
Yeah, they sure do. It's been hard to watch. But no, we actually, as you may know, Kyler, we have a weekly bet, me and Snickers, and currently I'm up 3-2. And this week our bet is actually about your team because you're facing a pretty tough decision every week between Joe Burrow and Tua. I try to avoid that to myself. Just usually keep one good quarterback, but so Snickers thinks you should be playing Tua this week. I support your decision to start Joe Burrow. What are your thoughts? How do you make this decision?
Whoever I pick to start, the other one's actually going to do better. So I don't know how many people follow my roster each week, but I'm sure it's a couple thousand. So those couple thousand people, just word of advice: you look at whoever's on my bench, put them on, put some money on them, and you'll be a rich person.
Oh, I like that. I think you should definitely stick with Joe in the starting lineup then.
My thoughts for this week. Let's see: Joe against Seattle or Tua against Carolina. So Joe Burrow definitely was starting off slow. I think he got his confidence back last week. I think he's back on the train, and I think he's back on track. So I like that Jamar Chase is healthy. I think that helps his case a little bit too. And the Dolphins, I love the Dolphins this year. I think they're scary good. But Carolina's defense is a little bit better than Seattle's, and yeah, I'm sticking with Joe Burrow. We'll see. I stuck with him on week 1, week 2. I guess if he proves me wrong, I'll just be a Joe Burrow hater for life if the whole season goes like that. But I'm giving him a chance. I give people chances.
Joe Burrow is also in Ohio State, previous attendee. I'm not sure if you would start hitting because of that or not, but
he is. But he also spent some time at LSU, so he's not one of those
can't say hardo.
He's not a full-time, part-time Ohio Stater.
Yeah, he turned his back on Ohio State, right? He left them for greener pastures.
Yep. Yeah, and you got to give him credit for that. You look at if you're at Ohio State and you have an offer from one of about 500 other schools, you're going to better yourself and take the other option.
Agreed. Now you're doing your famous move. I don't know if you realize this, but you're actually featured in our opening about your habit of starting 2 tight ends. A very controversial take. Why is that trend continued this year?
If I could start 2 quarterbacks, I'd have Burrow and 2 in there. Sometimes you have 2 tight ends and you just don't want to be wrong. And if I play Kittle, it's the same deal with the betting. If you play Kittle, bet Ertz because he's going to do good. If I play Ertz, throw your money on Kittle. So if I play them both, I can't go wrong.
Looking at the team, Zach Ertz probably is the best option you have for flex there. But you haven't really seen what Cam can do and what Zay can do.
I just don't have a lot of depth in any position. I loved how I started the draft this year with Cooper and Devontae, and I thought I was doing well, but I don't know. The quarterbacks are important too. Getting Kittle could have been, could be great, but then behind my top guys, I don't know if I, had too many cold ones by the end of the draft or what. But the backside of my roster is just doesn't have a lot of supporting depth. So, like you said, playing Ertz as a flex is probably my best option, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ended up getting, I would say at this point, the second round pick on Cooper Kupp feels like it was worth it. He missed a few weeks this season. So did my first round pick in the Austin Eckler. But so you're all set at wide receiver, but it seems like your running backs have not panned out in the same. Well, I don't know. Actually, Brian Robinson's been good until the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I didn't realize until about 2 weeks into the season that Brian Robinson wasn't the same as Bijan Robinson. So yeah, I think there's some miscommunication there on my part.
Yeah, I think your brother took Bijan 3rd overall.
People were really talking up Brian Robinson. I don't know how I got him in the 8th round.
Yeah.
That's funny. Now, how you feeling about beating Kyle this week? We got Kyle versus Kyler. Pretty similar lineups. You think you can overtake them?
Let me pull it up here. So Fufu Cuddly Poops, they're definitely not having a good season either. Let's see what we got here. So Lamar Jackson's their quarterback. Do they have a backup quarterback on their bench? They do not. So I guess if you don't have a backup quarterback, you can't play the wrong one.
That's
So
right.
That makes me a little nervous about the quarterback position. Tyreek Hill's a beast, but the rest of the team, I don't know. I don't like the rest of the team, to be honest. So Lamar Jackson and Tyreek Hill probably put up 40 points apiece, and he scores 80 points total. I scored 90. I win.
Yeah, I kind of like that way of looking at it. And Ryan Robinson has been a bright spot, the same way that Kyle Hope, Jerome Ford would become a bright spot. He hasn't really been able to do that yet, especially going against San Francisco this week. I don't think that's going to happen at all. But no, I mean, I like Zay Flowers. I like Josh Downs. He's coming up the rookie year, but I think it's going to be a pretty close matchup.
Yeah, I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, he's got him on the bench. I don't know if he'll end up in the lineup or not. I made the mistake of drafting him in a couple leagues. Jahan Dotson hasn't panned out the way that we thought he would. So I don't see any reason for him to put those guys in the starting lineup. Ford and Madison, I do like that they get 20 carries a game some games, but I don't think it's going to be enough to compete with my two tight ends.
The two tight end strategy served you pretty well last year, if I remember correctly. I think you were one of our top finishers.
That was before Travis Kelce was distracted with with his new friend up in the booth.
That's right. That's why he's not on your team this year, I assume.
Yeah, no. My players aren't allowed to have girlfriends.
Makes sense.
Too many distractions.
Now, what is your matchup of the week, Snickers?
Yeah, the matchup I'm looking at is more of an off the field one than on the field. It's John versus Katie. They're bitter rivals till the end here, but they're both projected within 2 points of each other. So it's actually been pretty interesting. Katie's obviously coming back from a slow start, and John's trying to get back on track to back to his fast start here. Looking at the game that just started a little while ago, both Russ and Patrick Mahomes are on the teams who've both thrown interceptions already. So I don't know how good this fantasy match is going to be, but there's going to be bragging rights as long as either of them look at the app and talk to each other. So.
Yeah, no, that isn't right. I had not paid attention to this game so far, but it looks like it's been ugly. And yeah, who would you pick to win here, Kyler? We got a 4-1 team versus a 2-3 team.
Yeah, I mean, normally I would just pick against Katie regardless of who she was playing. It could be Katie against my dog, and I'd pick the dog. But in this case, I think she has a good team this year. I think Mahomes is a good player, and their offense hasn't been right yet this year. But I think this game, it's still early. It's first quarter, 2 minutes left. I think this is a get right game for Kansas City. And I think their offense is going to turn it around. Patrick Mahomes is my captain on my DraftKings lineup today, so I really got a feeling that he's gonna warm up. I don't know what's going on if the beginning of the game is starting off slow, but I think they'll pick it up real quick.
Yeah, Nate, what's your thought on these two legendary punters? Obviously, Johnny Hekker is one of the best punters of all time, especially with fake punts, and then Trestway is obviously the best way.
I don't know that fake punts. Well, I guess fake punts probably do score in the league now. I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, rushing yards.
But or passing yards.
Or they could score a touchdown if they fake the punt, pass it, and run it in for a touchdown. That's probably should be a big point.
Johnny Hekker has thrown a touchdown before.
Yeah, very interesting take. And now against Miami, where they're going to be feeling pretty desperate, especially since they're 0-5 now. Is that true? 0-4, 0-5?
Yeah, 0-5.
They are going to be maybe more likely to throw a fake than they might usually be. So maybe I'd pick Johnny Hekker here.
Awesome, yeah. But what about you, Nate? What matchup are you looking into for this week?
For the second week in a row, I want to highlight your matchup just because I'm fascinated by the terrible start your team has had. But even though I think you have one of the better teams in the league, I still do believe that. Although your projection isn't panning out that way. I see that you did decide to go with Javonte in this matchup. 3 points through a quarter could be worse.
Yeah, 31 points in the first quarter. That's 120 yards in a game. I'm okay with that. Hopefully a touchdown too.
It is just looking at that real quick to go back to that last one with, Harbor Patrol against Go Punter Rangers. It is a bit concerning that the only football game that's started so far, both quarterbacks are in that game, and the score is 1-3. Definitely not a lot of offense coming out of that team, right? Those two teams right there.
Definitely not yet. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is actually though the kind of game where you maybe want your running back to be in because they're going to be using them throughout the whole game. So that's some good news on your end. It also seems like a good time to have had the Chiefs defense, perhaps, Snickers.
Yeah, I got an interception so far. If Javonte gets 120 yards and Denver scores no touchdowns, a couple more picks on the Chiefs side, I think I'm okay with that.
Obviously,
how do you feel about Justin Fields this year? Another Ohio Stater that came from that school.
Yeah, obviously over the past 2 weeks, he is the best quarterback in the league, but I am not as high as I want to be on him. He has not looked good at all. I haven't been watching a lot of Bears games, but that's what I've heard at least. But he's my starting quarterback now, moving forward for the next 4 to 6 weeks while AR is on the IR. So
I think the thing that concerns me the most, Snickers, is your wide receiver room, though. Tutu and Bomber, those are both third stringers who I'm surprised that they're both rostered, let alone starting. What happened to your wide receivers?
they're on IR, and I didn't really have a lot of other ones. Tutu's been doing well, honestly, and I have Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnson, so I'm going with the guy with more experience. Obviously, Christian Watson's on bye. I have a couple different things here. This isn't a great week for wide receivers, but we'll see if we can take down Ducky like I do in regular football.
Very nice.
The good news is you got Derrick Henry on Ducky's team going up against the number one run offense or defense and number one defense against the run, and they're coming off a bye week. So I don't think you have to worry about Derrick Henry putting up his normal 3 touchdown game. And, Sam Laporta, yeah, he's a great tight end, but is he going to be healthy? It doesn't sound like it. So I think 2 of his best players are going to be, kept under wraps. That should definitely help you out.
Yeah, and Ducky's putting all 3 of his Houston Texans back on his bench this week, so we'll see how that goes. He's been big on Houston this year.
Yeah, he's been so hot and cold on them. Interesting. And did not feel bold enough to play Jaleel McLaughlin after a big investment last week. But speaking of investments, I think it might be time to get into the free agents. Now, Kyler, I was checking before the show, and it looks like you still have a substantial amount of your budget left to use here. What are you saving up for?
I'm waiting for the economy to turn around. I think it's with inflation and everything right now, it's good just to keep that money in the bank until let it grow. And maybe next couple weeks I'll start really checking the waiver wire as players get injured. I thought with Sam Laporta going out, whoever Detroit's back, whoever their second string tight end, it might be worth spending some money on. But yeah, I was just relieved that my picks started coming off the IR with Cup coming back and Furrow being decent. I haven't really had to hit the waiver wire, but definitely with bye weeks and not being very deep on the bench, there's definitely going to be some of that money coming out of the bank being fun, some fun spent on some players here in the upcoming weeks. Try to turn my 1-4 team around.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly what Matt's trying to do this week by spending $80 on the waiver wire on a couple of players here.
Yeah, Matt this week. He clearly did not take the same philosophy as you, or maybe he decided this was the week to spend because he changed his whole team. His bench is listed right here on the screen.
No, but you got the big ED in Arizona, Mari DiMercado. $25 outbid everybody there. Outbid everyone for DJ Chark, and when I mean outbid everybody, I mean he's the only one to bid on DJ Chark. But good for him. He definitely got him.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. I mean, when you start off
receiver.
when you start off slow, you got to, when you start off with a bad record, you got to do something. And so far his strategy was to go out and get some players. Mine was, like I said, I just think with Cooper Kupp coming off the IR and Joe Burrow wasn't ready to throw my chips in yet. So we'll see what happens in the next couple weeks. But still, I think we're both optimistic that our teams can still get up to 500 and find a way into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I don't. Given what your situation is, I don't mind that you haven't been too desperate, because like you have some reason to be hopeful that your team's gonna be looking different. I'm wondering. So I had DJ Chark on my team until about a week ago. Is Matt's $25 to make me look cool? I stopped him, and he clearly waiting for that to happen, because $25 is no joke on a wide receiver. But it looks like you managed to pick up Jared Goff. Snickers, that's not a bad pickup. I managed to get Jonathan Mingo, who still has the potential to break out with old man Adam Thielen. The only one really catching any passes over there. And Logan Thomas has quietly been a good tight end. Say that we get him.
No, absolutely. And yeah, Jonathan Mingo might be able to be the number 2 in front of Lockjaw. So
absolutely. Now, anything else that you want to share with our viewers today, Kyler, before we let you
go? Just a thought for the league next year. I mean, we're always adding new positions, add new players. If the league of the punters, why not add 2 punter positions next year? We got 32 teams. Like, league might expand. If we have 2 punter slots, we still got plenty of. Everybody can have 2 starting punters. There's enough teams out there. It's food for thought.
Yeah, I mean, why not? 2 starting punters, really create a market for punters. People are all of a sudden drafting punters in the 3rd round.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that'd be a ton of fun. But yeah, thanks for jumping on here, Kyler. Good to see you as always. Say hi to your dog there.
Yeah, thanks for guys. I'm looking forward to it. And if I am able to turn it around, maybe get my record over 500, I'd be happy to come on again.
Yeah, hope to see you in the playoffs.
All right, sounds good. Take it easy, guys.
You too. All right. Thanks again for Kyler joining the show. Always great to have some of the Penn State guys joining us as well. And now we just have a little bit of time for my wife, Caitlin, to once again join us for her segment, Caitlin's Hot Takes. How are things going this week?
Going well. I'm just a little concerned for Pat Patriot.
I see you jumping right into it. What is going on with Pat Patriot, Caitlin?
Well, I think it's time for him to settle down.
And why don't, for all of our viewers out there, why don't you tell us a little bit about Pat Patriot and his situation?
Well, he's the mascot for the New England Patriots, as I assume most people watching this podcast are aware of. He was born on July 4th, 1776, which is highly confusing because I don't know how he participated in the American Revolution as a 1-year-old, but that's something to talk about on a different day. And he attended a top school in the Patriot League, per his bio, which I assume he played football at, and he's still living it up playing football to this day.
Where does he play football?
And the Patriots.
I don't know if he does.
Stadium.
But he actually doesn't play on the Patriots.
No, he's head and shoulders above the competition. It says in his bio, and he plays 60 minutes a day.
He definitely does throw footballs back and forth, Nate. So
I'm starting to worry that his bio may not be entirely accurate.
It's the official bio on Patriots.com.
So what is the deal with Pat, the tricentennial man's relationship status?
Well, I think he's single. I haven't seen any women around. Have you?
no, and I haven't seen any women. And Nate, it's going to be about 52 more years before the tricentennial happens. But I appreciate the thought there for big words.
So you'd call him more of the bicentennial man? I guess he's not halfway there yet to the tricentennial.
I'd say by and a half centennial.
By and a half centennial.
Yeah. And I mean, Mr. Met has a Mrs. Met, so why can't Pat Patriot have a lady?
Any eligible bachelorettes out there for Mr. Patriot?
I was thinking Molly Pitcher. She's a Revolutionary War figure.
It sounds like she might be baseball.
No, not Mrs. Met. Molly Pitcher.
Mrs. Pitcher?
Mrs. Well, maybe just a girlfriend. They're not. I think marriage is a little too soon. He's been a bachelor for how many years?
I mean, it'd be really nice if he could end up being like the Mets and end up just being someone who's already named Patriot.
Pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Snickers? Who else out there can Pat get with?
Yeah, I mean, it was the woman that made the American flag, Betsy Ross. Betsy Ross she's a hottie.
Teenage boy.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But
I heard rumors.
he's not a teenage boy anymore. He's eligible too, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think Bill Belichick's girlfriend is on the market now, so I might be able to get with her.
It's a Bill.
So Pat Patriot has a lot going for him. It says he has a good smile. You'll never see me without it. So that's good. And he's a 100% muscle is his weight.
Wow.
I find his personal slogan confusing. Do your job. What is that supposed to be?
Pretty sure Bill Belichick started that, and Pat Patriot doesn't talk, but it's okay to put it on the bio, I guess.
I feel like if some man told me to do my job, I'd feel a little offended.
I'm sure he won't.
That's why you got married, Caitlin, and you're not eligible. He's not looking for you right now. So
one problem though, his favorite movie is 3 Games to Glory, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I feel like a potential partner might find that boring.
And non-committal. Well, no, we certainly were looking out for Pat this week as he remains single on the sidelines once again. But thank you very much for sharing your takes, Caitlin. And thanks you all for joining us this week. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend.